Hello, check, test. Check, test. All right, let's do it.
Doc Rivers continues to time and time again not get it when it comes to getting. Oh! Let him play!
You bet one bone to win 19. What site do you use where you can actually bet $1?
They let you do 50-cent bets.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, literally, like he dropped Superman down like the drain, comes out, like, God damn it, Superman. I don't know, honey. I don't know where he got that from.
From Los Angeles, this is Dave in the City.
Part of the DITCOW Sports Network.
Now, here's Dave Medina.
Good evening, sports fans! And a pleasure to have you here for the big football show. Good to have you with us from the Dave in the City studios at the home of champions, Southern California. What an exciting weekend of football! Wasn't that great? Just the best divisional weekend you will ever see. Quite possibly the best there's ever been. Every game decided by one possession, 3 of them decided by a last-second field goal, and 1 of them decided in overtime. You couldn't ask for more as we start on this conference championship preview tonight. But we'll begin by recapping what was just an incredible divisional round in the NFL playoffs. I can't say more about it. I mean, it has just been phenomenal. And so John's with us tonight. Andy should be joining us in just a moment. And the 3 of us will recap what's been really great. I think Ron could make it too, actually. So we'll keep an eyeball out for both Andy and Ron in the next few minutes. But it's just a time. So it sets up a great conference championship round. So in those games, let's see if I can remember. Okay, the Bengals beat the Titans. The 49ers beat the Packers. The Rams lost less than Tampa Bay. And then, what heartbreak for the Bills, though, man. But the Chiefs outlasted the Bills in overtime, including an improbable 13-second drive that resulted in a field goal for Kansas City. That should not have happened, honestly, but we'll get into that in a moment. So it's time for recaps and predictions and more from the conference round. Let's hit it! All right, conference championships preview on DITCOW here. Looking forward to recapping all sorts of things, including Cincinnati with their first ever road playoff win, and that's pretty cool. And then you have the block punt meltdown for the Packers. The Bucs out-lose the Rams in a wild fourth quarter. I mean, that game should have been over much longer ago, but the Rams are doing everything to give it away. Then you had an all-time classic between the Bills and the Chiefs. I mean, every single game had juice. And I just can't ever remember that happening in a divisional round. So that's awesome. So it sets up a really good conference championship weekend, too. So let's bring in our panel back into the program. And there's John off to the right side of the screen if you're watching our YouTube simulcast. And we welcome John to the show as well. John, good to have you with us. I mean, I realize maybe not the greatest of times for your team, perhaps, but the weekend was awesome. How are you doing tonight?
Doing better, Dave. I'm glad we didn't have the show on Saturday night or Sunday. It would not have been very good. Definitely a rough game with the Packers. We'll certainly get to that. But overall, though, just as a fan, obviously, if you weren't a fan of any of those teams, it was just an incredible weekend of football. And we kind of alluded to it that, the poor matchups in the divisional round was just going to, the wild card round was just going to set this up. And that's exactly what happened in every game. It's like each one topped the previous one, which you couldn't think was possible, and it certainly did that. So what a great weekend of games.
Yeah, 100%. It really was a great weekend of games, and just little things were the difference in all of them, which was really funny. For example, if you go to Buffalo in Kansas City, all they had to do was kick the ball in bounds. I don't know why they kicked it in the end zone. That might have saved them a lot of trouble. And if you go to Tampa Bay, the Rams might have been good and just making one field goal in the 10-minute stretch where they could have put the game away. Just a field goal. And I couldn't believe that the field goal went short. I was like, this field goal is good. Did you think it was going in too? Like when Matt Gay kicked that?
Yeah, I did. I thought, oh yeah, that's good. And then all of a sudden it drops short into like a 46-yarder. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? This guy is not kicking for like Akron. I mean, he's an NFL kicker. But I guess he apparently hurt himself before the game started, so that makes more sense. I see. A lot of leg strength. He must have had some kind of injury. But yeah, I was surprised at that for sure.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we've got a lot to recap, so let's just start with the weekend's action, and I'll check on Andy in the text and see if he's good to go. But we can, even if not, we'll have a good time getting into this. I gotta give it up to the Bengals too. It's a great win for the Bengals. That's a great win. They fought hard to win that game. There was only a matter of time. You figure they're too good to lose every single road playoff game. So I'm glad for them. So let's get your recap of last week's action. Quite a lot to. Wait. Let me add one more thing. You did call it with the Packers special teams. You were worried about it going in. And it's a fitting ending, unfortunately, for how that went down.
I wish I was wrong, Dave. I wish I was wrong. I knew special teams might fuck up the season, and it certainly did that. What else can you say?
Yeah.
Blocked field goal in the first half. That was bad enough because, that would have been the difference. Or at least to get it to overtime if things played out the way they did. But even at the end of the game, even when the Packers got that great stop on fourth down. Shanahan did that play where he put in his huge defensive tackle or whoever it was and put him in motion. And they went to it was a 4th and 1 with 6 minutes left. Packers are up 10-3. Put the dude in motion, but they didn't run behind him like they did in the first half. They just kind of ran straight up the middle, and the Packers were ready for it. They stopped him. It's 10-3, 6 minutes to go. I'm like, all right. Let's go here. We get this huge stop. The Niners are not reaching the end zone. Got a first down or two. Even if you have to punt, the game's over. Sure enough, they go 3 and out. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? We'll punt it away, and the Niners aren't scoring tonight, a touchdown tonight, because the Packers defense was unbelievable all night. Obviously Jimmy was not 100%, which clearly everyone knew heading into the week. And then, of course, the just complete and utter disaster of the punt being blocked. And they weren't even going for the blocked punt. That's the sad part. They weren't rushing the entire team to block the punt. It was some guy just kind of putting his arm up.
Yeah.
As like a courtesy almost. Like, all right, I'll just throw my hand out there. And he fucking blocks the thing, goes straight up in the air. And, that ball could have gone anywhere. It could have gone back, easily could have gone back 20 yards to the end zone for a safety. And Packers are still in good shape. But, of course, it falls exactly into a spot where there's no Green Bay player. Niners grab it into the end zone, and the rest is history. I'm the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan there is in terms of a player. He's turned out to be a little bit of a quack in many other ways, but that's besides the point. But he did not have a good game. He was way too locked on to Davante Adams. I don't know if you guys saw the replay of it was eerily reminiscent of Favre in the 2007 NFC Championship game when his last pass was this floated duck on the sideline to Donald Driver that got picked off. Very similar to Aaron's last throw of the game where he just chucks it down the field to Davante Adams, which he had been doing all night. And if you look at the tape, Allen Lazard is coming absolutely wide open over the middle as soon as he releases that ball. And he would have got 40 yards. They would have been in field goal range for the win. And he was just so locked on to Adams that they couldn't, he didn't get him the ball. And unfortunately, they punted, and then they got that punt off, of course. And the Niners did just enough to get into the range. The run from Samuel on 3rd and 7, and then Gold just drills the field goal. And it just absolutely devastating. Just think that the Niners did not score an offensive or a defensive touchdown, and they won. The Packers scored on their first drive of the game, and the Niners had -7 yards in the first quarter, and the Niners still won the game. I think a big turning point in the game, to be honest with you, was the Mercedes Lewis fumble on the second possession, because the Niners did not stop anything the Packers threw at them in the first drive. The second drive, they're moving again, and then Lewis fumbled the ball. And, it kind of turned out to be a wash in terms of directly after that. But the Green Bay offense was not the same after that play. They only had one sustained drive the rest of the game. It was their field goal drive in the second half, and they couldn't get in the end zone there. If they get in the end zone there, down by the goal line, they're going to win the game. Aaron Jones, I have no idea on that busted play why he doesn't keep just running straight down the field. He cuts it back into the field, into the defender right before halftime, and that led to the block punt. So just a calamity of errors just all around. And even with all that, if that punt is not blocked, I truly believe the Niners are not scoring a touchdown, and the Packers win like 10-3 or 10-6 or something like that. And just the worst possible time for their special teams to ruin the season, and it certainly did. And it's a bitter pill to swallow because who knows what's going to happen now with the future of the team. Like this was their chance, and like we'll get to the Rams game in a minute, but I was really confident in the Rams winning that game, and I don't think the Rams were going to go up to Green Bay again and beat the Packers. I mean, the Packers beat them pretty good the first game, and I thought that was going to happen again. So unfortunately, it's another disappointing exit in the first round for Green Bay. But that's kind of my overall thought on the game. I mean, credit to the Niners. I mean, they hung in there and they took advantage of their opportunities, but just really, really disappointing. So I guess that's kind of my thoughts on that game. I guess I can go back to the other ones in a minute. But,
in a minute, let me go bring Andy in first, though. So, Andy, welcome back to the show. How's it going tonight, my friend?
Hey, Dave. Hey, John. What's up?
What up, Andy? How'd you do over the weekend as far overall? I mean, I know you mentioned some stuff with the Kansas City game, but
broke even, but should have been a lot fucking better. But impulse gambling, bad gambling, just stupid shit like John documented with the Packers,
right.
Stupid. Did you guys talk about Titans Bengals yet?
No, we just started.
That was like, I felt like a genius. When we talk about Titans Bengals, that'll be like, ooh, I feel so smart. Even LT would be proud of me with the investments I made there. But the other games were just, well, let's take it game by game. John just dissected the Packer game. You want me? Well, I really can't compete with John's dissection of that game. He knows Green Bay left and right, but having the same kind of thoughts as he did, like Green Bay in their fucking 10-degree weather, like that, the Niners were a fish out of water. John mentioned, San Francisco did nothing in that game. The only thing that Green Bay could not have done was just be a complete fool on special teams, and they got the block punt. They got the field goal blocked in the going into halftime. And I don't really know. They might have had they've given up a bad return at some point. But in terms of the kicking and the punting, I mean, that was obviously haunting. Aaron Rodgers is getting taken to the cleaners by people that don't even like sport. So I'm not gonna pile on there. Honestly, it's not like he played bad. Like John mentioned it, he nailed it. The block punt, which came out of nowhere. There was you could ask the most diehard San Francisco fan, and you ask them how do you feel about this game? This is awful. Garoppolo, the one scoring drive that they had, he threw the interception. With a minute left in the first half. The fumble by Mercedes Lewis, Green Bay was already up 7-0, clearly potentially going in for another 3, maybe another 7. If that happens, you think San Francisco, built the way they are with Jimmy G, is going to come back on the road down 10 or 14? I don't think so. But that's why you play the game. That's why you play sports. That's why everyone, who thought the NFL was the worst product on earth on the Super Wildcard weekend thought the NFL was the best thing on earth last weekend. You got to let everything play out. But, that is obviously now LA, San Francisco has another, great narratives going into that game. But, I mean, if you're a Bills fan, if you're a Packer fan, you have to just be completely dumbfounded right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll get back to you as far as the rest of the games, but let's return to John. Let's get your recap of those other 3 games, which again, 3 doozies in a row. I mean, you have the Cincy game, you had the, and then you had the 2 games on Sunday. So, John, let's get back to you for the recap.
All right. Well, I honestly did not see a lot of the Cincy game. I saw the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see most of it. I do know Burrow got sacked 9 times, which was crazy that he gets sacked that much and they still win. And we had talked about it last week that the Tennessee D-line could have some success, but didn't see it to that extent. And for them to still kind of pull it out there, I mean, that's crazy. From what I can tell, Tennessee had some horrible play calling. Just listening to it, they had like 4th and 1 a couple times, and they're trying to run like Tannehill, like option plays, and it's just a complete joke when you have. That's why you have Derrick Henry. Like, just give him the ball and get out of the way. Like, if you can't get a yard with Derrick Henry, you don't deserve to win. They did the same shit last year. I believe they played the Ravens, and he was very well was like punting on 4th and inches. Like, you have Derrick Henry. Like, why are you scared to use him? So that was surprising. And then Tannehill had some interceptions. So he even with all of that, I mean, he could have won, but then obviously he throws the pick near the end of the game and sets up the Bengals perfectly to get the win. So, kudos to them for hanging in. So that's about the extent of the analysis I can give on that game. I honestly did not see much of it. So bad job out of me. But we'll go to Sunday. Man, the Bucs looked so dead in the first half, and they really were they would have been dead the entire time, except the Rams just kept fumbling the ball away every single time. It felt like Akers had 2 fumbles, Kupp had a fumble. That was just a complete joke. I mean, I don't know how they're going to put Akers on the field again after that performance last week. And Brady does what he does. Like they just keep plugging away at it. You've seen it so many times over the years when his team gets down, you really can never count him out. And they almost had to come back for the ages. And then finally, Stafford makes the big throw to Kupp and gets them into field goal range. And I don't know what the Bucs are doing, sending like a huge blitz there. That's exactly what the Rams are going to be doing. They're going to be looking for deep shots and they're looking for Kupp. So I didn't understand that. But the Rams really dominated that entire game until they started fumbling it away. The Akers fumble before after the Brady pick, it could have been even worse. And then that kind of changed the momentum a little bit for the Bucs to start their comeback. And they the Bucs just couldn't block the Rams front, as we talked about, and that was kind of the matchup to decide things. And it was interesting, like over the years you never heard anything about Brady retiring, and then all of a sudden you hear these stories leaking before the game, and it was just really interesting. Like, not saying he didn't give an effort or anything. Clearly he gave a great effort, and they almost won the game. But it was just weird. Like, you always heard, like, Brady's he's going to keep playing. I'm going to keep playing till I can. I'm going to keep playing. Like, why? Don't ask me that kind of thing. I'm going to keep going. And then all of a sudden you hear these stories are leaking about him. It could be his last game. So I don't know if there's something to that. We'll see. But that was a impressive first 2.5 quarters for the Rams, and then they held on for dear life. But they were clearly the better team, and just some turnovers just really kept the Bucs in it, and it turned out to be an exhilarating game. Just one more comment on that game before I move to the coup de grace in Kansas City. It's funny, like, that was the first ever personal foul Brady has ever gotten in his career. So that ref Hockley, he is terrible. He was one of the worst refs in the league. Him and Jerome Boger.
I was gonna say, yeah, Boger, yeah, absolutely.
How did those two get playoff games? That's horrible. It's just awful how those two got playoff assignments. But anyway, that guy's gonna be bragging to his kids in like 20 years. Hey, I was the only one to give Tom Brady a personal foul in his entire career, or some shit like that. But anyway, yeah. So let's go to Buffalo and Kansas City. Man, I don't know about how many times I was just like yelled at my TV, "Oh my God!" in like the last 2 minutes of the game, because every single play it was like that. Now we talked about it last week, Dave. That was the absolute perfect live betting game, because in that sequence, or in that last 2 minutes, whoever took the lead, just go on and bet the opposite, because those two offenses and with those two defenses, neither one was going to be stopping the other. And, I have to pull up the exact chart because I don't quite remember the scores in my head. But so I believe Buffalo went and scored with just under 2 minutes left. Kansas, a touchdown. Kansas City goes down the field again, scores right away, and there's like a minute left approximately. Buffalo right down the field again, and then they score their touchdown with 13 seconds. And honestly, I said to the people I was with, hey, the Chiefs got 3 timeouts. I've seen Mahomes throw, he can throw it 50 yards with like nothing. Like there was enough time for him. And for whatever reason, and I think you mentioned it, Dave, I don't understand why the Bills didn't squib kick the ball or like pooch it. So at least some time would run off the clock. That ended up being the difference. Like, why are you kicking it out of bounds? Even if you run 3 seconds off the clock with a squib kick, have to have a lineman take it and like take a knee or down it. That's time that, he was not going down the field in 9 seconds with 3 timeouts. There was just enough time. And then why aren't you bracketing Kelsey and Hill? I just don't understand that. Yes, I get it. You're tired, but throw 2 guys on them, and they're going to do it on the middle of the field because they have timeouts. Like give them the sideline. I just did not understand the defensive strategy. Even if that at that point, just like grab them and tackle them at the line of scrimmage. It's only going to be like a 5-yard penalty.
Right.
Just do it a couple times. Just don't let anyone get behind you. Don't give you the open field. And then, of course, Mahomes works his magic, and they get into field goal range, and, Butker just drills the kick. And, of course, you go into overtime, and, the whole thing about, Josh Allen doesn't get a chance to touch the ball. And I do sympathize with that because as a Green Bay fan, there's been many playoff games where, the other Rodgers never got a chance. The NFC Championship game in Seattle is obviously the number one on my mind in that situation. However, you don't want it to come to a coin toss. Don't let the Kansas City Chiefs go down the field in 13 seconds to kick a field goal. I mean, that's all I have to say about that. So I do sympathize, but at the same time, it's not like they didn't have a chance, to stop the Chiefs with 13 seconds. So that is just as bad as the Green Bay loss was. It's almost the Buffalo loss was worse, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because like they had it won. Like it was. You could have heard a pin drop in that stadium. I mean, Gabe Davis, 4 touchdowns. I mean, Josh Allen, that dude is just a monster. But hey, you know what? The defense couldn't get it done, and Mahomes works his magic. And here are the Chiefs again, angling to go to their 3rd straight Super Bowl, and they probably will. We'll get to the championship game previews in a minute, but man, what a game that was, and what a last 2 minutes. And I just. We had talked about it too, about live betting, but I was so entranced in what was going on. I didn't even think to go on and make a few live bets at that point. But I know Andy has a story to tell, so we'll have to hear what he has to say.
Well, let's not waste any time. Let's get it over to Andy in Seattle. Let's get your thoughts. Anything else you had as far as last week's action?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, what did I say last week? Like, I need to just curb the impulse gambling and just I like the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs -1.5. I like Green Bay -5.5. That burnt. That was a bunk. Whatever. I like the Bengals as a dog, and I'm too much of a fucking 1, 2, 3. Let's do this to ever bet against Tom Brady. Even though anyone that watches. Maybe, the casual NFL fan knows teams like the Rams are able to get to Tom Brady. Teams like the Saints, teams like the Jets back in the day, teams like the Giants back when they had the defense to do it, with Strahan, who's not walking through that door anymore. Teams like the Ravens with their crazy defense. And the Rams have that defense to frustrate Brady. But yeah, so I'm just watching too much sports right now. I'm getting angry. But yeah, the Bengals, I mean, everything was flush with the Bengals. Like we don't like Tannehill. We thought Derrick Henry might be used as Henry's obviously amazing and he's an MVP player when he's healthy, and he's the best running back when he's healthy. And he gets better as the game goes along when he's healthy because the defenses are getting tired of tackling him because he's big. But also, when's the last time he played? Like the middle of October? So I had a feeling like he wouldn't be like 100%, maybe even more of like a decoy than anything. And so I was like, I'll take the Bengals and take the Bengals first half, take the Bengals for the game, live bet Tennessee plus 3.5. And it all worked and it was great. And as John mentioned, Vrabel's a good coach. Sometimes I think he thinks he's a better coach than he is. He comes across as like a Belichick 2.0. Like, I'm going to be here a long time. I don't know. You haven't won too many playoff games. You gotta, let's do that before you can be like a complete asshole to the media. But I don't really have any, we were texting with Tommy about the decision that Vrabel went for the 2-point conversion after the penalty and instead of go for the extra point, because you got 1 yard, either give it to Henry or have your 6'7", have your 6'5" quarterback sneak it. And they didn't do it. Like on those close and third, there's that sequence that John mentioned that when they couldn't convert 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, the haunting scenario was the receiver didn't get the first down on that second down play. Like, he's kind of nonchalant about it, that would set up 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. And on both those plays, like, it just like they were just not on schedule from the handoff, the center quarterback exchange. Like, it just looked disjointed. And credit to Cincinnati for, they obviously couldn't let Burrow, quote unquote, cook, because the offense line was so bad, 9 sacks. So it's not like everyone's like, why are they throwing bombs to Chase? Because they didn't have time. You have to let Chase have some time to run 40 yards downfield before Burrow can chuck it. And that wasn't happening. If we want to nitpick, Burrow definitely, there were some sacks where he probably should have just thrown the ball away, but they got away with it. They got away with it. Against Kansas City, I don't think the pass rush is going to be as ferocious as the Titans, but it was a fun game. I'm glad the Bengals won. I think the ceiling has been kind of reached with Tennessee. You can only go so far with someone like Ryan Tannehill and a compromised Derrick Henry. Good season for Tennessee, but I don't think Tennessee was going to beat Kansas City next week. I don't think the Bengals, on paper, are going to beat Kansas City. But I would rather see Burrow and Chase versus a Tennessee team that's going to try to, slow down the game and minimize possession and try to grind, because you're not going to grind out a win against Kansas City. But yeah, that was game 1 on Saturday afternoon, and then we talked about the Green Bay San Francisco game. Now we could get to Sunday. Sunday, yeah, it just flew in my face. LOL Brady. We see JB on Twitter, but Eli Manning, like LOL Brady, like Brady stinks, like all the narratives. And I even text Ti, this idea. I'm like taking screenshots of all like the Brady sucks screenshots. I'm like, this is why I say LOL Brady, because people actually think he sucks. And it was very shocking to see the Tampa Bay defense kind of fold in the moments that they did and give up these like huge plays, like the 3rd and 20 touchdown, right? Right when you think Tampa Bay could maybe get back in it, I think it was like the beginning of the second quarter or maybe end of the first quarter, the Rams score a touchdown on 3rd and 20. Like, you cannot do that. You can do it, but like, if you want to win, you can't do that. And yeah, like the game was by all intent purposes over. Like, 28-3, yeah, that happened once, but 27-3, it's not going to happen again. And I think they kicked a field goal to make it 27-6, and everyone's like, "What's the Arians doing? Like, you're down 27-3. Why are you trying to make it 27-6?" But they, Cup had the fumble, and then they just kind of chipped. I mean, the fumble with like a minute and 50 seconds left, that was unexcusable, right? Like,
Right.
you can't let that happen. Like Tampa had no timeouts, and basically all the Rams needed was like one more first down, and you just gave breathing life to Tampa when that happened. Now some people can be like, when on that 4th in one play, and I don't know if like John can talk about it or you guys can talk about it. Like, I actually thought like Brady was gonna do a QB sneak and then like call something and reset everything 4th down. But obviously the unconventional play was, everyone thought the sneak was gonna happen. And that's why Fournette had daylight on that counter to the end zone. Now, some people are calling sports talk and be like, Fournette should have taken the knee, but no, you have daylight there. You just score. And again, like Todd Bowles, Arians, I don't know what you all were doing. Like, now, I don't know if Matt Gay's like injury was like that much of like I don't know if Tampa knew it, because McVay said he didn't know about it, because you know how he was short on that field goal from 47 yards.
Yep.
And Al Michaels said something before the game that Gay tweaked something in pregame, but obviously, unless McVay was being dumb to the media, like he said, I didn't know about that. But if Tampa knew about that, then you had, if you know like Gay was going to be short from 47, then like you have to, don't let Cooper Kupp and company get behind you on defense like that. That is inexcusable. That is inexcusable. And as someone that had Tampa -3, I was like, ooh, now some of my bets alive again. And I had bet Tampa +6.5, so I won that, but I also had Tampa +3 at 1.2. So betting live, thinking Brady was going to make a comeback, I probably should have waited till they were down 27-3 or made another bet at halftime. When it was at halftime, Tampa was only -3. The second half line was Tampa -3. You would have won that. I didn't, because I had already like doubled down and tripled down in the first half. I'm like, I'm already like, I've already got too much allocated right now. Let's just see what happens with these bets. But yeah, it was just I think LA, San Francisco will be a very interesting game. It's a good narrative, but like I said, if I wasn't a New England Tom Brady Mungo, I would have taken the Rams. Stafford's shortcomings in the playoffs, be damned. Like, that is a strong defensive line, and it was just a bad matchup for Tampa with their, as we know, their receivers were compromised. Antonio Brown wasn't walking through the door. Goodwin was not walking through that door, and Evans is kind of hot and cold, and Gronkowski is, he's a shell of himself. So I thought, it would be a tough game for Tampa to pull out. I didn't think it would be 27-3 and see a crazy comeback like that, but that's why they play the game. And then obviously the Kansas City Buffalo game, I like Kansas City -1.5. I like Kansas City in the first half minus a half, and it looked very good. Kansas City went up 14-7. I'm like, I know Buffalo's going to go down the field and, maybe hold them to a field goal. And obviously they didn't, so it was 14-14. But again, it's like, well, the Bills gave Kansas City plenty of time. All Kansas City needs to do is get in field goal range. And they threw basically kind of like an in to Kelsey. So I'm like, okay, they're at like the 33-yard line. They ran 2 more plays, if you remember, but basically it was like Mahomes threw it out of bounds twice. And it's like, oh no, like I'd be so much more comfortable with like a 42-yard field goal than a 50-yard field goal. I know Butker's good, but he's not Justin Tucker, clearly. And fucking Tony Romo being like, he's just so cool. Is he gonna be iced or is he the ice man? And even Nance was like, yeah, he's the best. And Romo's like, he's got that look about him, like the putter that never misses from 6 feet or whatever. And I'm like, you fucking clown, shut up. And obviously we know what happened. It just drifts to the right. You heard like a false doink because there was no doink. But I'm like, oh my God, 5 units down the drain, Kansas City first half. But that's why he played the game. And then obviously in the second half, there was all that back and forth. And when Kansas City went up 9, I'm like, I'm going to buy Buffalo. I'm going to buy Buffalo plus 5.5. And, in a perfect world, in another world, that final score is 26-21. It's 26-21. It's 26-21, I think, with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left or whatever. 4th and 13, and the Kansas City cornerback falls down. And the Bills – so even – because if the Bills don't convert 4th and 13 there, it's 26-21. Kansas City gets the ball. They're going to probably get a first down or 2, and that's it. But instead, now it's 27-26. We're still okay. Like, Kansas City minus 1.5 is good. Like, no matter what happened, I think we're still good. And then Buffalo that was a very impressive 2-point conversion, by the way. That gets overlooked now. Like, Allen was rolling out, and he made a very good throw to make it 29-26. But even then, 29-26, you're like, well, the Chiefs are definitely going to go down the field and either tie it or go up, 33-29, which they did. So this whole time, I'm like, the only way Buffalo plus 5.5 doesn't come home is if it goes in overtime. And it went into overtime. And the Buffalo Bills lost the coin toss. And there's no way they're holding them to 3. And they didn't hold them to 3. And Bills lose by 6. They don't lose by 5 or less. And it's like, well, you won your original KC minus 1.5 bet, but you lost KC minus 0.5 first half, and you lost Bills plus 5.5 by 0.5 point. Like that, if there's worse pain. There's real pain. There's like, owie pain. But in terms of gambling, that freaking sucked. And I'm texting with my buddies. JB, I text with friends. My other friend, he was able to get Bills plus 7.5 and KC plus 3 just when he bet. He bet when the Bills went up 7-0. The live line at the time was Chiefs plus 3, so he bet that. And then I don't know when he bet the line when it was. I don't know what point of the game where he got Bills plus 7.5, but good job by him. So he had steak dinner, and I had, I went to Dickie's barbecue for glutton brisket because I felt bad about myself.
It sounds. I've heard good things about Dickie's. It's not too bad, is it?
It's good. I mean, brisket's good, but I wanted you eat fast food barbecue, and you're just ugh. It's yummy, but it's guilty. I feel bad, but when you go to a steakhouse and you eat a prime rib or whatever, you're like, this is I'm treating myself.
I got you.
Where you eat fast food barbecue, I don't want to talk to anybody. It's the dumped girlfriend eating ice cream in front of the TV and eats a whole carton, stuff like that.
Of course. I got you. Well, that's a great recap, Andy. Thank you both for just a tremendous recap of all the action. John, did you do the recap of the other 3 games yet? I thought you did, but I'm not sure. But you can if you want.
Oh yeah, no, I got my thoughts in, Dave.
Oh, okay, cool.
We're good. We can move on to the next one.
Moving on to the next one, indeed. So let's go look at what's happening this weekend. Sunday is a big day. It's time for the conference championship. So it starts with the Bengals at the Chiefs for the AFC title at 3:00 Eastern time on CBS, and then you have the NFC Championship between the 49ers and the Rams in a rematch, of course, because these are divisional rivals. 6:30 p.m. on Fox. That game is at SoFi Stadium, but you could have fooled you wouldn't know it because all the 49er fans are going to be in the building too, as you saw in the regular season matchup. So a lot of dynamics with both of these games. I mean, the Bengals with a lot of house money. I think it looks really good for them. We'll see what happens with those fellas. And then the same scenario with, I'm not sure which team has the house money between the two, because both of them seem fortunate, like in the NFC game. Both teams seem really fortunate to be in the thing. Let me give you the odds before we go to the previews. So these are the odds for the games. For Bengals and Chiefs in the AFC title game. The Chiefs are a 7.5 point favorite. The over-under is 54.5. No surprises with any of these odds. And for the NFC title between the 49ers and the Rams are a 3.5 point favorite, and the over-under is 46.5. Interestingly enough, that was literally the same point spread they had in the regular season game at SoFi. The Rams were up, 17-0, 16-0, and then the 49ers had this insane comeback by just running the ball. It was nuts. Will history repeat itself in the playoffs? Time will tell. Now, John, I'm going to give it to you for your thoughts on this week's action. 2 big games. You kind of teased it with the first one. You figure the Chiefs are going to win. Okay, all right. But let's get your thoughts and your detailed analysis and what you think. And feel free to incorporate the point spread aspect of it, too.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's why we're here.
Absolutely.
Dave. I mean, come on.
Yep.
Who's not watching these games and don't have a bet on them? Like, you're insane. Yeah. Honestly, Dave, if you can't blame me for not being as in tuned or in depth with the matchups this week, it's just kind of like, all right, the NFL. I mean, I'm kind of done with the NFL season, to be honest with you.
Oh, I understand.
Obviously, I'm going to watch and gamble, but in terms of like thinking about it, really, like it's just kind of an afterthought now for me. I was more excited about the Torrey Pines golf starting today, and good job by the PGA Tour doing Wednesday through Saturday, not competing with the NFL on Sunday. So that's a great job out of that.
So fucking good.
We'll get prime times. Yeah, we'll get prime time Saturday golf for the final round, so that'll be excellent. But I digress. So for these 2 games here, I'll just give quick thoughts. Yeah, I do think that the Chiefs are going to win. That 7.5 seems like a few too many points to me, anyway. The Chiefs' defense is not the Titans' defense, so I don't think they're going to get the kind of pressure that they had, like the Titans did on Burrow. So I don't think there's going to be 9 sacks in this game. I think you'll see Chase getting down the field. If you remember the game between these 2 teams, literally a month ago, all it was Burrow just throwing it deep down to Chase into Higgins, like on the sidelines, making insane catches and back shoulder throws. And that was basically it. So I think, in any absence of pressure on Burrow, they're going to be able to do that again. So I don't see the Bengals. I don't see any problem with the Bengals repeating that performance. And then on the other side of the ball, the Chiefs had no problems scoring against Cincinnati either. So, and they're at home, obviously, in this game. So they're going to dial up all sorts of stuff and have no problem scoring. The only thing is the Bengals, they seem to start slow every single week. So 55, I think that's what I saw the over-under was, like 54.5, was it?
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep,
54.5. On the surface, you would probably say over, but I think the Bengals start so slow every single week. I might lean under. It might just almost get there. Like it would end on 51 or 52. I would lean under in this game. But I do like the Bengals with that. I think that half is key. I think they can keep this within a touchdown. I don't think the Chiefs' defense is good enough to keep Cincinnati from scoring enough points to at least make this a competitive game. So, it kind of goes against my philosophy of whoever you think is going to win the game, take with the spread. I mean, you do that with bowl games. You should do it with NFL playoffs. In the regular season, that philosophy doesn't always apply. But for here, the playoffs, you would usually do it. But for this game, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say the Chiefs win but don't cover. So something like, I don't know, 28-24 or something like that. I think the Chiefs will win, but I think Cincinnati definitely represents themselves well and keeps this game close and covers. So that's what I'm going with for game 1. In the second game, I mean, who the hell knows, honestly. I still have not figured this one out because you're going to have the narrative all week about Shanahan beating McVay 6 times in a row. Well, I mean, they, like you mentioned, Dave, the Rams had them pretty good in the last game. It was 17-0, and then even late in the game, they get a score and they're ahead 24-17, and they somehow go into this horrible prevent defense and let the Niners score. But before then, they had the game won as well. So I think, Garoppolo is still not 100%. I don't care what anyone says. He did not look good last week, and I think that's the difference in this game. I think the Rams will get some pressure, just like they did against Brady. They'll do that against Garoppolo. And he's the key to maybe making a mistake. But the Packers could have had 3 pick sixes the other night. If Eric Stokes, my God, play the ball. Like, why are you playing the man? If he had played the ball on that out route, he's in the end zone. And I'm going to be upset about that game for a little while, as you can tell. But I think Jimmy will give them some. I mean, Deebo Samuel is going to get his. And, the Niners defense is great. So I don't think the Rams are gonna have a great game offensively. So I do like the under in this game between these two teams for sure. I definitely like the under. I see it being like a 23-17 kind of game. But I'll go with the Rams just because I think people are going to buy too much into the narrative of Shanahan winning 6 in a row. And I think Garoppolo is just still not 100%. And he's going to make a mistake or two that they're not going to be able to recover from in this game. So, probably a square parlay, but Chiefs and Rams, I think, will meet in the Super Bowl. And the second year in a row with the home team hosting the game. And that'll be a good matchup if it happens. And if you remember, those two played in a Monday night game a few years ago, just insane. In the old, it wasn't in SoFi.
It was at the
LA
Coliseum. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just a fantasy football bonanza with that game. But
yeah.
So I'll go with the square picks with the Chiefs to win but not cover, and then Rams to win and cover. So that'll be my picks: Chiefs and Rams.
Love it. Now for you, the thing you always watch out for when you talk about betting against the spread is who is the potential public dog, which means even though they're an underdog, most of the people are on it. So I'm looking at it here on the Action Network, and 44% of the bets so far are on the 49ers. So I actually think that the narrative is driving that, and I'm kind of on your side with that. I think that you don't want to overthink this. Like, yeah, I know that the 49ers have this like curse thing or whatever on the Rams, but that doesn't mean they're going to lose. They're going to win, Like, just because of that, I think it's a silly reason to bet on them. But Andy, let's go to your picks and let's see what you think about these two games.
Yeah, so that Rams Chiefs game from like 2 years or whatever, it was supposed to be in Mexico, right?
Right, it was Mexico City, yeah.
And it was like, did the field get like too wet or like because there's like a soccer game or something? But I forget like the reasons why it got moved there, but I know it was supposed to be in Mexico.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but it was a really great game, and I mean, I think if the game was played in Mexico City, it would have also been a great game. I don't think the venue had a factor in it. It was just going to be a great game. It was an awesome. I've never seen so many points scored in a game before, so it's really great.
Yeah. So championship weekend, we have 3 more games left. I'll say, when you were looking at when you were posting the lines, I was like, do like a tease, like KC minus 1.5, and take the Niners up to 9.5. But now I'm probably gonna take the Bengals plus 7.5, and I'll probably take throw in another teaser, Bengals plus 13.5. But now, I know we've always said Shanahan owns McVay, and Tommy tweeted get ready for this narrative, and I just kind of tweet Tommy, I'm like, Tom, if you've been listening to John and Ron and Dave for the last 2 years or whatever, we've been saying this all for a couple of years too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, to John's point, now it's now it might be you go to the well too often, and now it's too trendy. Even though Shanahan does own McVay, Shanahan is a great coach, but Shanahan worries you sometimes. And this is Trent Dilfer style, but Shanahan has trouble closing games, right?
Right.
Whether it's an offense coordinator with Atlanta or, this year against the Cowboys or in the regular season. He has trouble closing games. Tennessee, Christmas, 2 nights before Christmas had a big lead. And, well, not big lead, but a big halftime lead. And just when they're up, that's when you worry about them. But as Trent Dilfer said, when you don't have like a big lead to close, then you don't have to worry about closing. And that's obviously what happened against, Green Bay last week, because 49ers had no lead to protect. But the first game, I agree with John, as a, 30 seconds ago, I was like, take that tease with the Chiefs minus and that 1.5. And if you want to root so bad for Burrow and Chase, take some player props, take Burrow's over, completions or, yards, and, touchdowns. If you really want to root for the Bengals offense, take some of those props. But I think I'm going to take them plus 7.5, and I might even do one of those, stupid teasers and get them up to plus 13.5. Because I think even if in the unlikely event it is like a 20-point game in the fourth quarter, I think the Chiefs will be in a backdoor defense, and you can expect Burrow to, get a late touchdown or whatever. But I don't think, the Chiefs defense, they're not going to get 9 sacks like Tennessee did last week. Obviously there'll be some revenge factor, but it's the AFC Championship game. You really shouldn't really have to hone in on revenge factor or anything what happened last month. Is Marquette really gonna gag my plus 6 at this point? Bucs. I can't wait for this shit to happen. Anyway, I expect hopefully an exciting game, and this will be a type of game where Zach Taylor, let Burrow cook. Don't try to chew time clock with Joe Mixon. Try to go toe to toe with Kansas City. Selfish reasons we want to watch an entertaining game. Because even if you try to win a game 21-17 Kansas, it doesn't matter. We know how fast Kansas City can score. So you want to make it a game where each team only gets 8 possessions or whatever. You're still gonna get Kansas City's best shot. So I don't know. You gotta dance with dance how you been dancing this whole way. If Marquette, if Seton Hall scores here, I might fade to black here. But and then game number 2, game fucking number 2, Shaka Smart, he only has 2 timeouts. Game number 2, if it's a compromise, Jimmy, that kind of takes the wind out of the McVay can't handle Shanahan sails, because you close your eyes, you see Von Miller, you see you see all the other guys on the Rams defensive line creating havoc. And speaking of Von Miller, remember him? Remember he was on the Broncos and he unceremoniously got traded, and they tried to blame his teammates wouldn't pay for this party, and he wanted zoo animals at the house. You Google it, it's a thing. That's why they said Von Miller got traded, because they wanted this team party, and he wanted his teammates to pitch in for the zoo animals, and they didn't pay, they didn't have the party because it was taking attention away from the task at hand. But Von Miller's amazing, and shame on Denver for just basically letting him go scot-free to LA, a team that already has a very strong defense and only got better. So I can't give you a score in this game. I think Stafford is, he has kind of eroded his he can't win a playoff game label pretty fast and furious this year. San Francisco. Now this is I take back I don't really take back what I say, but the Bengals needing to like chew clock or whatever, and it won't work. But in this instance, like San Francisco will need to run the ball and get Deebo Samuel involved, like trick plays, gadget plays, fake punts, whatever. Bring out everything, and just see what happens. Because I think defense versus defense, it's pretty close. It's pretty close, but Stafford highly outranks Garoppolo, even if Garoppolo was 100%. And then home field, I don't know. I expect there to be a lot of San Francisco fans there, Dave. And
Yep, me too.
And then from like a non X's and O's, game standpoint, like I love watching games at SoFi Stadium and get to see two of them back to back. Man, they are milking SoFi a lot this year, huh, Dave?
Oh, they sure are. Yeah, it's all over the place. The Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
The Chargers get a lot of games.
Yep.
The Rams get a lot of games. Obviously, the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
Yep. Good times. Yeah, it's too bad I won't be in town for that for Super Bowl. I'm actually you won't believe it, but I'm gonna be in Vegas. Can you believe that?
Oh, nice. You should look up Oat.
Oh, wait, man. You think is he going to continue the tradition? All right.
Yes, it's confirmed. He's going to be there.
I will contact the Oat Man. Oh, I missed the Oat Man. It'd be fun to meet up with him again.
So you're going for the Super Bowl weekend?
I think, yeah, pretty much for Saturday and Sunday. And I'll see if I can finagle Sunday night, too, because, like, I don't know if the plan was to stay through Sunday night, but it should be. If it's not, I will make it so. You know what I mean? Like, I will make it so. We're going for, like, my sister's getting married, so, like, there's, like, a bachelor party over there and stuff, and so it'll be nuts. But the Super Bowl part on Sunday is gonna be awesome. So yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Good times. Thank you for the recap, though. For the rundown, Andy. I will talk though, man. We'll see if he's up for it. Let's go look at those odds again. Yeah, I'm completely with all these assessments. I think if I was gonna do a teaser on this game, John, see if this sounds good to you as well. I would take the under in the Rams game, tease that up to 52, and then I would take the Bengals and tease them up to 13.5. I think that would be pretty good. I don't know what to do with the Rams spread. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like I kind of just want to lay off of that part. But how would you, if you could do a teaser and you do it two ways, how would you do it?
Yeah, I like your under 52. Going up for the San Fran and LA total. I definitely like that. I think that'll be a lower scoring game.
Yeah.
For sure. So I like that. I mean, they say you should, obviously you're not going to tease through zero to get the Rams plus 3.5. So for that one, your only option is really San Fran plus 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
I could see the Rams winning by 10 if, there's a pick six or something like that. I probably wouldn't do that. Chiefs minus 1.5 seems pretty safe to me. I also could see Bengals plus the 13.5. Really, either way, you want to go with that one because you got to figure it's going to be played in a 1 to 13 point window.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a huge blowout. So I think either option for those two, whatever team you really want to root for, is the way to go. And then I like your under 52 for the Rams game. So that would be my choice for a 2-point teaser. I mean, if you want to do a 3-team teaser, I don't know if they let you like do cross sport teasers, but you could do like 2 NFL games and then throw in like a college basketball or an NBA game that day. But I think basketball teasers are 4 points. They're not 6,
4 points.
Although you probably could find a line with 6 points. Yeah, you probably could like find an alternate spread that's 6 points. So there's so many betting options out there. I will say in my weekend of pain that I had with the Packers, I did hit something nice on DraftKings. So they gave me like this profit boost to do a 4-player anytime touchdown scoring parlay. So I did one from each game. So I had A.J. Brown for the Titans. And then I said to myself before the game, the Packers are just going to kind of get down to the goal line and then A.J. Dillon's going to run it in. And sure enough, he got their only touchdown. So I had A.J. Dillon. Then I had Mike Evans, and then the last guy I needed to round out the parlay was Travis Kelce. Of course, I got it at the very end of the game.
Oh, overtime,
so
right?
Nice,
Yeah.
Yep,
Wow.
exactly. So that was a very nice hit to the DraftKings
Yeah.
account. I kept refreshing, like, come on, I'm going to cash out, because when it was like late in the game, they wouldn't give me the option. So I was lucky that happened. So definitely lucky on that front. It's kind of eased the pain a little bit of the Green Bay loss, winning some money.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll take it.
I love it.
I have a question about teasers, and I'm like, I probably could just text the bookie, but I know you guys, one of you guys would know, and one reason why I'm so apprehensive to get back in the teasers, because I forget this. I probably haven't done the teaser in a long time, but I used to do them all the time. When do you lose? Let's say it's a 2-team teaser, and one of those legs it's a tie. So let's say you tease a team up to +10, and then they lose by 10. You lose, right? Because that's the whole point of that's why it's a teaser, correct or not?
No, I think it's a push, and then you just go down to it turns into a single bet. It's on, an alternate spread basically. So you get pennies back, but
pennies back. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll confirm that with my site too, because I thought if it was a 3-team teaser and you 6 points or whatever, and one of your teams only, you get that margin, you either win by 6 or lose by 6. It's you lose. That's why they call it a teaser. But no, that's good.
That is good. It would make sense though, because that's how parlays work. And in parlays, when you have a push in one of the legs, it just reduces your parlay to one less team. So that's usually how it goes. So it would be on brand, I think. So yeah, I would agree with John. Great. Yeah, and in terms of what you do with it, Andy,
gun to my head, I'm so. I think I mentioned it before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the. I do, but my blood pressure can't really, and my nerves don't handle over under. When I watch a game with money either on the over or under, it's just bad energy inside my guts, and I'm like, are they?
Yeah.
Especially with basketball. Basketball's the worst because you're doing the math the whole time. It's it's 196, so that's 49 points a quarter. That's 4.2 points a minute, and then so you're just doing the math backwards the whole time. And
I completely agree. Sorry to jump in, but I bet a number of college basketball over unders this year, especially unders, and you're at halftime. You're all right, so there's 63 now. So if I double that, it's 126. I'm 14 under. Yes, I'm good to go. And then there's fucking 50 points in the first 4 minutes of the second half. And you're okay, why did I even do that math? Because it's done now. So yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Football, I think obviously football's a little different because it's more it's time. It's the clock is a lot. The clock dictates the over under a lot more. Whereas basketball, man, that's why the Scott Van Pelt bad beats, the over-unders in college basketball are amazing because you see on the lower right-hand corner of the television when they have the sidebar, it's 24 free throws were shot in the last 17 seconds of this game. You're what the heck? Yeah. So, but with this tease, Dave, I would probably tease both. I know it's kind of square. I'd probably tease both dogs. But as I say it, it's I don't think the Rams are going to lose. So you could tease the Rams as a plus, plus 2.5 or plus 3 choice. And if you go the John route and do a multi-sport, you could even get even crazier.
Mm-hmm. So one thing I started learning about on this alternate site I'm on is that they now have 3-point teasers. Would that be a good option for this particular weekend? And I asked that question because, a 3-point teaser would be kind of ideal because it puts Kansas City down to like 4.5, which I think is gettable, and but more importantly, it would put the Rams down to like a 0.5 point, which I think, yeah, you could totally see the Rams winning that game. Like, what would you do with that? Like, would you do that, or? Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I've never done a 3-point teaser in my life, but I feel like if there's a weekend for it, this would be it. I think I mean,
Dave, at that point, wouldn't you just do alternate spreads?
Yeah.
Why do a teaser? Just go to the alternate spreads and just do 3 points.
That makes so much more
way you want. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen a 3-point teaser on any of the things that I'm on.
It's a very good question.
But,
you could take, for example, just take the Cincy game straight up, like plus 7.5, right? Or that'd be fine. Let's go with that. And then bet, like you said, bet Niners minus 0.5 point as part of a parlay, like with those two things together. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I kind of feel more confident now. I was thinking in the beginning, I'm like, okay, plus, Cincinnati plus 13 makes a lot of sense, but actually I think Kansas City minus 0.5 point. What happened?
No, just overtime. Iowa State, Oak State.
Oh my goodness! I didn't. I was just about. Okay, but anyway, yeah.
I think John needs overtime. John, are you giving 3.5 or 3?
I actually did just a money line parlay with the two unranked teams. I didn't love how the line started at like Seton Hall -3, and then when I went to bet tonight, it was like -6. I'm like, oh Jesus! Like I'm not gonna lay 6 points. So I just did a money line parlay. So my bet is obviously done because Seton Hall is just completely dead. So I hope that you get your Iowa State here, so I can lose both now. But yeah, that's been a good game.
College basketball has been great, but last. I mean. It's always great, but, that's only show in town right now.
Yeah. Well, it seemed like even within that, oh my God, they were down by, I don't remember, Seton Hall was not down by 20 points when I last checked on them. What happened over there? Gee whiz. That fell apart.
They're horrible. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Seton Hall and I don't know if Brett still listens to this program, but Seton Hall lays eggs in the same manner that McDermott and Creighton do sometimes. And Creighton laid an egg tonight against Butler.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because they were balling against St. John's this weekend. It was just so interesting how they can be so different.
It's crazy. I took St. John's on Saturday as the home dog, and of course Seton Hall wins. And then I was thinking to myself, okay, it's like the spread was -1 or 2 in St. John's, and it was basically down to that margin. I mean, I think they won by 4 points. So then on Monday, it's always just such a mind fuck when the teams play back to back.
Yeah.
So then Seton Hall's a 7-point favorite at home, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, really, how much of that really changed? Like, just because they went 10 miles down the road to play in Seton Hall's gym, it just didn't make much sense to me. So I had St. John's in that one, getting the 7 points.
Yeah, but, so funny you mention that because Saturday I took Seton because St. John that game was at MSG and it sounded like there was just as many Seton Hall fans there. And then that game on Monday, John, like I took St. John's, but I took St. John's plus the 7. I took Seton money line as I told you with Virginia and Virginia Tech bunk or bink but bunk. But about that game, yeah, like that game was on like Seton Hall's campus, not the Prudential Center. It was like looked like it was in the auditorium, and there was no environment there. So it was like that's again what we talked about with with college basketball, like that line was predicated on like home court, but the home court's like an auditorium.
Right. There's literally like 500 people there. It was crazy. Like I never seen anything like it. Was like if they were playing in the I don't know, the Big West. No disrespect to any of the teams in the Big West. But seriously, like it was literally a high school gym. I'd never seen anything like it for a supposedly major program. It was like 500 people there. Like, you tell me the line moved 5 points in that little bandbox of a gym? It didn't make any sense. So I'm glad I cashed on that one. But
Nicely done,
yeah,
Don.
it's crazy. It's really interesting to dive into some of like these matchups. It's bizarre sometimes in college basketball, and I'm glad that, knock on wood, like you're seeing fewer and fewer postponements now. Like there may be like 1 or 2 a night, and there's a time where you'd have like 40 games that were knocked off the board, and you wouldn't know who's playing, like who's in, who's out. So, we're in terms of gambling, we're grateful that they're kind of back onto a normal schedule with that, and March is going to be crazy for sure. Like it always is.
Yep. Well, I want to give you both a lot of thanks for your advice from last week, because I used it and it was very helpful. For a good example of that. So you know how like basically what goes up comes down, or must come down, or what comes down must go up. I basically used that principle with Auburn. So Auburn was just killing in Kentucky. So what do? We took Missouri plus 13 against them. That was a winner. It was good.
Yeah, lowly Missouri. That was a good. Yeah. Great call, Dave.
Yeah.
That was it. The buy low, sell high angle. Yeah.
Plus 13 to the bank. Show today. So, okay. Any final thoughts before we close it up tonight? I mean, I'd be happy to talk college basketball for another hour if you want, but it just depends on what you guys want to do.
No, I think we're good, Dave.
Cool.
Like I said, personally, I'm just done with the NFL season as a whole. I mean, it's sad to say, like I said, I mean, I gave my generic breakdown of the games just because, obviously I'm going to watch, but in terms of like, my emotional investment in the NFL season is gone.
Oh, okay. Well, I understand. Yeah.
But no, it'll be 2 interesting games for sure this weekend, and we'll watch them, and hopefully we'll get a good Super Bowl matchup. I saw the look ahead lines, and there was no spread more than like 3 points with any of the matchups. So
cool.
That's good news, regardless of what the matchup comes to be, and that's how the NFL likes it. You want to have all sorts of parity in the league, and that's what we have. So should be an interesting Sunday, and wish everyone the best of luck with whatever you're wagering on.
John, before I go to Andy, what's your prediction for the Farmers? Because Billy Horschel had a great day, but you always have to think about John Rahm. I mean, that's his home. That's his place. He loves it there.
Oh yeah. Great tournament, great field, and what you need to look at, Dave, is because they split the courses. You get to play the first 2 rounds, 1 round on the North course, which is very, very easy. So if you look at the guys at the top of the leaderboard right now, like you have to go down like 7 names before you hit someone that played on Torrey Pines South, which is the hard course that hosts the U.S. Open. So like Horschel, Thompson, Jaeger, Tway. Ricky Fowler was 6 under. Who would have thought it? I honestly just saw that for the first time now. My God. Gim, Molinari, all those guys played on the easy course, the North course. Okay, so Rahm played the South, so that's why he's probably the betting favorite. I haven't checked the live odds, but he played the hard course and shot 6 under. So I'm sure he's going to go tear the shit out of this easy course tomorrow, and he'll probably be in the lead. So he's looking pretty good in terms of if you're making a bet. I think let me look at it right now. Oh, he's plus 250. Wow. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Because
he hasn't even played the easy course yet. But I will say the 2 bets I made this week for guys to win, I bet Dustin Johnson at 25-1, which is just absolutely crazy to get him. I know he hasn't played this year, but the course fits him. He had an okay round today, 4 under. So we'll take that on the South course. And the other guy that it's 60-1, I bet Max Homa, who's usually very good in California, and he's a great putter on the POA greens, which is kind of what you're looking for here. And he was doing really well earlier. I don't see what he finished at. Okay, he finished 4 under too, so he's still in the mix. So we'll see where things stand after the cut tomorrow. But those are my 2 bets on guys to win this week, and I had some free bets. So I was like, you know what? Throw it down on DJ and Homa, and we'll see what happens. So I may even get into a live bet tomorrow after the round. But this is like our first real tournament of the year.
Yeah.
The other ones weren't. Although I will say the playoff. I know we're getting into golf now. The playoff between Russell Henley and Matsuyama. Now that was an exciting tournament. Henley just completely gave that up on the back 9, which anyone could see that one coming. That guy does not play well with the lead. And Matsuyama, I mean, this guy, the Masters win obviously was huge, but he's just taken his career to another level. That 18th hole, he's like 270 yards away, and he hits just an absolutely perfect cutting 3-wood to like 5 feet, and he drains the putt for an eagle, and Henley's just making a complete mess of the hole. So you knew it was over, but just an amazing shot. So that was a great win by him. And I think he won in Japan earlier in the fall, so he's already got 2 wins on the season. Big things to come for Hideki. And then last week's tournament was just, honestly, it was just kind of bullshit because there was just all scrubs up there at the top of the leaderboard, to be honest with you. And Hudson Swafford ended up getting the victory. I think he was 300-1 heading into the tournament. So if anybody had him, God bless you. I mean, that would have been a great pick. Although the funny thing is, this is the second time he's won the tournament. So out of all those guys in that range, you almost could have picked him. But I had a horrible week last week in terms of the golf wagering. This week, knock on wood, it's off to a better start. So we'll see how it goes.
I love it. All right, Andy, let's get your predictions for the Farmers. What do you think of it so far?
Yeah, well, just to fall back on the Palm Springs, like Rom made a great point, like, and the leaderboard shows it, because like there's no penalty for spraying the ball because the rough is just like not existent, and so he was saying like there are some holes where you were better off being like 50 yards left in the rough than like an inch off the fairway, and if you look at that leaderboard, yeah, it was like the guys that putted well, and you see like Bo Hodges and guys like Adam Long or like Shank. I don't know.
Paul Barjan. I never heard of that guy in my life, and he was in the final group last week.
Like I'll always like pay attention to that event because like not a LT style. Like I've been lucky enough to play like those courses out there because my mom lives like 10 minutes from there. So, and obviously like us playing that course, it kicks our ass. Like, but a pro playing in those lush conditions. Although on Saturday the wind did pick up and it was playing a little tougher, but if there's no wind on those courses, like it's minus 28 to minus 33 is going to win that tournament after 4 days. But about Farmers, John made some good points and kind of hand in hand. So my one and done league been altered a little bit. There's 10 tournaments like with a little more prestige. Farmers, one of them. Genesis is another one of them. Murfield Village is another one, where you pick 2 just to kind of spicing it up a little bit. And so for this one, the same guy has won 3 in a row. He won both Hawaii events and he won the Palm Springs event. So he's making some headway. And so this week I pulled out all the stops. I took John Rahm and I took Max Homa. And so we'll see what happens. And then to John's point about South First North, I actually forgot which one was playing harder. So in my this other contest I do where me and another guy, we pick 3 golfers each round. But since this format, first round, second round is going to be on 2 different courses, this bet's going to be, all right, how are our 3 guys after rounds 1 and 2? And so I took Rahm, Thomas, and Decky, and they all played the South course, and they posted a combined 10 under. And my opponent picked Dustin, Xander Schauffele, and DeChambeau, also 10 under. But Xander and DeChambeau both played on the North course. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. It's it's daily golf. Decky could post a +5. That's the beauty of this, and I hope he doesn't. But one round of golf, it's so willy-nilly. But I'll be into the Saturday finish. Nance with his FOMO will be calling the game remotely from Kansas City.
What? Oh, I got you.
Oh, really? That's crazy. I didn't know that.
I didn't know about that.
Makes sense. He's not going to fly overnight from San Diego to Kansas City to call. I mean, he could, but I mean, that's Jim probably said, you know what, I'm going to call this remotely. He probably told the CBS folks what he wanted to do at that point. But I haven't heard of any. Is there any changes to the CBS like announcer lineup this year? Have you guys seen anything, or are they bringing back the same crew?
I haven't heard. I hope. I don't know. I mean, less Dottie Pepper is never a bad thing.
I was just gonna say, are they bringing back Dottie Pepper again? Because oh my goodness, we just cannot deal
Oh,
with
she was miserable during last year, wasn't she? Man, she had some rough moments. Anyway, go ahead.
But I'd like to, I think, as John has tweeted about it, we've texted about it, the ESPN Plus and VTread, I didn't realize, and you guys probably knew, like, I didn't realize you can actually pause. You could pause the ESPN Plus, whatever you're watching. I didn't know that. Like, so I guess VTread been pausing the golf, and then you can, like, do, like, fast forward, like, 30-second increments or whatever. I probably wouldn't do that because of the gambling aspect, but I didn't think you could do that on ESPN Plus, but I guess you can. But it's been great. I know the golf tournaments we haven't had a ton of inventory, but the few that have been on ESPN Plus, it's great. Thank goodness. Like, I mean, win-win, because the tour probably
it's wonderful. Yeah,
the tour is like, this is good for us. Like, ESPN's got probably more resources, manpower to showcase these events.
Yeah, I did
Yeah, I
notice
had it on today. So for whatever reason, the Golf Channel coverage was 12:30 to 4:30 Eastern time. So then you still had the featured groups on the course. Popped on ESPN Plus, you got to watch everything for another 3 hours. I mean, it's just exactly we used to complain, when there's like weather, like when the marquee groups are still on the course, you're like, why the hell can't we watch this anywhere? Well, guess what? Now you can for only $6 a month, and you get all thousands of college basketball and every soccer league imaginable if you're into that. And it is honestly such a good investment. I remember when they first started, there was no content on there at all, but they've really pushed stuff on there, and it is definitely worth the price. And I actually had it bundled into like the Hulu Live TV, so I don't even have to go on the ESPN app. I can just go on my Hulu app, and it's like incorporated into it, which is even better. So I cannot say enough good things about the ESPN Plus and golf arrangement.
Amen. Awesome. That's my comment. I agree. It's a good spot. So I'm gonna have to look into that tomorrow. See what's going on with the ESPN coverage tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you gotta get it, especially since college basketball, we're getting into the extreme meat and potatoes part of the season. Tommy, like, you watch way too much low level basketball. Like, why not? And don't insult these conferences either. Like,
well, you just insulted the Big West, though, for what it's worth. But no,
you want.
There's nothing wrong with it, Jim. I mean, a gym is fine.
I'm just giving you a hard time. No, I know, I get it, because like barely, it's archery practice in all those buildings. I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
13 seeds win. Ohio last year, for instance.
Right. Yeah, much love. I think it's really fun to follow all this stuff, even though, you're right. I mean, is it sheer? Probably, but it's fun. Like, why can't fun be fun? It's fun. I have fun with it, so I think you all do too. So that's all that matters. So what do you have left over tonight? Anything in the late night slots for you both?
Andy's got to get out his ledger to tell us about all of his bets.
Yeah, well, right now I bet the I'm chasing, so I bet the Bruins. I'm going to lose my 3-team money line parlay because Davidson's choking in a big spot against VCU.
Okay. We
need Marquette to hang on. In late night, I got San Diego State.
Ooh.
And I took Stephen F. Austin at Seattle University.
Wow.
This is the perfect example of one of those games, Dave. You know what? I am so into that. Like, I was looking at that game earlier, and the spread was intriguing me. I'm like, this is kind of interesting. Like, I don't know what to do with this one.
You could go either way with that line.
Yeah, I took Stephen F.A. because they used to be. What were they in the? They were in
Southland or something like that. So a lot of those teams went to the WAC, which is interesting because, like, it's how the teams, they have it set up where only I would notice things like this, but it's the same kind of deal. Like, the teams have travel partners like they do in the Pac-12. So, like, the two Texas schools, Sam Houston and Stephen F. Austin, are like the travel partner. and then Seattle and I believe it's Cal Baptist or one of those teams is the Northwest travel partner. So they went to Texas and just got completely wiped out last week. It was Stephen F. Austin and I forgot who it was. And no, it was Grand Canyon. That's who got beat badly at Texas. At Stephen F. Austin, and then they lost at Sam Houston. So it's weird how those travel arrangements work out. But yeah, that's an interesting game. Seattle's like on a roll. Like it's crazy. Their record is really good. I don't know if their team is any good, but I guess we'll see if they can keep it going.
I took the road team. I took the road team.
Andy, is that game on TV at all? Is it on ESPN Plus?
That's an ESPN Plus.
Oh,
game,
let's
sure.
go! Let's go! I'm gonna fire that up. That'd be fun. Oh man, fellas, it's been really fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Enjoy and good luck for all your action this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all goes. Should be a fun weekend in football too. So all the best. Oh, and the golf too. Yeah, absolutely. Same thing with the golf. So good luck, everybody, and take care for now. I'll catch up with you soon.
All right. Thank
Sounds
you.
good, Dave. See ya.
Take care,
Good
fellas.
luck, guys.
Take care. Good luck, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was fun. That was fun, folks.
So we say goodnight. Hope you enjoyed that, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And if you missed any of it, check out the replay right here on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube live, or check our replays on our podcast feed at DITCOW.com. It's been a good time. Take care, everyone. And it should be a really good weekend. It really should. So I appreciate you being a part of it, everybody. And may the best teams win. We'll probably take next week off, and we'll come back the week after that for Super Bowl week. But until then, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the games. And we'll see you next time.